Hello, good morning. Welcome to Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. It's a pleasure coming your way. It's a beautiful Saturday morning. Now, today we have a very serious conversation to have, and it has to do with what appears to be another attempt on attack on press freedom or press liberties. There was a big event that, unfortunate, very dastardly, very reprehensible, that happened in the studios of UTV during the live broadcast of a prime time program called United Showbiz, where some chaps, who have identified themselves as MPP sympathizers or members, and largely been described as, hoodlums or hooligans or thugs, they stormed the studios of UTV because they said they're looking for Kwame Asarobing. We all popularly call him A+. They're baying for his blood. They're looking for him because A+ has been provoking, and he's been using disparaging comments on the president and the vice president and the New Patriotic Party as a political organization. So they're looking for him. They want to beat him up. And so the program had to stop. Now, 16 of them out of the many who stormed there have been arrested by the police, but we don't know what the police has done with them so far. We know they've granted them bail, but we don't know what has become of these thugs. The NPP has apologized, the government has apologized, but we don't know what's happened to these 16 persons who have been arrested. We don't know what's happened to them, and that's the conversation we intend to have on the show this morning, which is to ask, what is going to happen to these persons who have committed this dastardly act? That's the big conversation for us this morning. My name is Aldo Moro. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of Inside Pages on Metro Television. We will be right back.
Ase yeti omemu ha na ye prapra ni oma hye carpet ase na enye hwe fa manyame me mfa bibia manyame na ya bibia me ba me se me som bosom me ye bone. Now I've received a couple of calls. Matete say ye be show ha no obi enim ye see here. And we are not going to sweep that one under the carpet and go straight to go and talk about PCS and Joyce Blessing. And Matete say, yes, say, and there's also been punishment for bar. Zana Mate. I'm just hoping that it's not true. But if it is true, it took him 2 weeks to organize those people. Me, I came here with 3 pickups full of boys. It took me less than 30 minutes to organize, to call boys that will be under UTV. Also, if you do that thing again, I'll organize boys and I'll bring them to Ghana Gas. And I'm telling you this, microphone will be afraid for me. And if it is true, see, Yakufa the campaign, no, NDC, no, Nana Kunedrich, no, count. He's a very stupid boy. Yakufa the campaign, he was not part of it. And he has been making calls here and making threats every day. Obedience, no. Me, I'm not afraid of him. So when you probably don't buy you, yes. And I'm warning Owusu Bempa. I'm warning Owusu Bempa in this country called Ghana. Nipa are attacking MPP by Honorable Kennedy Japan. And he can call the vice president and the president and he will give them a showdown. And you stupid boys, none of you have been able to attack him. And you can come here and you think that we are scared of you. Obians Robiao, we made the mom wholesale price because of a couple of people. Oh, what can someone you have to reduce it because anya ye no be to say Kejemfu or MPP to make us MPP for. What can someone anya ye no obi to say a friend say a Samuel Nku or MPP ni a Kabu Peruku Jeto, all these guys they are my friends. Look, let me tell you something. Me, I'm not a coward. Me a coward. Yes, boys be about some A+. Me banu
Table you see your fair a lucky for and as a mangoes restaurants for Adaruma 0260 123776 and as a WhatsApp on 0555008815 and their number obefre I was so
He was able to sit here and tear our document. That is our property. We need him to render an unqualified apology. Again, the same person has insulted our general secretary, he has insulted our vice president, he has insulted our president. And there's nobody here to defend them. We are the youth of this country, not only the political party that we belong to, but we are the youth of this country. And we feel that it is unfair on our part. That is why we have come here and want to be part of the program. With all due respect, we respect you so much. Well, the program has turned into a political show. So if you want us to move outside before they start the program and you can assure us that we will come inside, fine. However, that notwithstanding, we expect that at least, even if you allow maybe about 3 or 4 of us to be here, and then the rest of the team or the invited guests can also join, we'll be glad to do so.
That's it. It's peaceful debate. That's
very peaceful. We are not here
to fight.
Table you see your fair a lucky for
yet your memoha. Na ye prapra ni oma she carpet ase na enye hwe fa manyame me fa bibia manyame na ya bibia me ba me se me som bosom me ye bone. Now I've received a couple of calls. Matete say ye be show hanu obi enim ye see here. And we are not going to sweep that one under the carpet and go straight to go and talk about PCS style and Joyce Blessing. And Matete say, yes, say, and there's also been pan a suman croffoba. Zana Mate. I'm just hoping that it's not true. But if it is true, it took him 2 weeks to organize those people. Me, I came here with 3 pickups full of boys. It took me less than 30 minutes to organize to call boys that will be under UTV. Also, if you do that thing again, I will organize boys and I'll bring them to Ghana Gas. And I'm telling you this, and if it is true, see, the campaign also been for NDC. No, Nana Kunedrich, he's a very stupid boy. The campaign, he was not part of it. And he has been making calls here and making threats every day. Obedience, no. Me, I'm not afraid of him. So when you probably don't buy you, but 200 yes. And I'm warning Owusu Bempah. I'm warning Owusu Bempah in this country called Ghana. People are attacking MPP, Honorable Kennedy Japan. And he can call the vice president, the president, and he will give them a showdown. And you stupid boys, none of you have been able to attack him. And you can come here and you think that we are scared of you. Obians Robiao, we made the mom wholesale price because of a couple of people. Oh, what can't you have to reduce it because anya year no bit is a KJF or MPP. Don't make us MPP for. What can't anya year no obi to say a friend saying a Samuel or MPP ni a Kabu. Peru Kujeto, all these guys, they are my friends. Look, let me tell you something. Me, I'm not a coward. Me, I'm a coward. Yes, boys be about some plus. Me, banu in less than 10. Let me pick up 3 full of boys. Let them come. We are your boy and one. I'm warning you. You also, I'm warning you. I'm warning you. If you are the one who did, you are a very stupid boy, and I'm warning you. That next time you show her, Smoby Braha. We will look for you. I'm warning you. In the when John Mahama was president of Ghana, then what happened?
Yeah,
What happened? And these things have been going on to the extent, say, judge to court ADSM, then some boys can go and overrun the court and sack the judge in a country where the president is a part of the bar association. Muka say, me nkwatena buchi say Kevin Taylor and I say, Jonathan, I will sit here and tell me, come on, no. And me 24 hours. Look, all the boys, they are a phone call away. And they are just a phone call away. 24 hours, I'm ready. Also, on your Berman chain will be our crew. I am telling you, when your Berman chain will be next time you show her for our boys, you better with Jimmy and I'm going to be able to make country. And when we come, nobody wants us to talk about the issue. Look, these things make me angry.
Yes.
So, come by and be prayer will be waha. And Cafe Information Minister Befre say we don't have anything to do with it. We are not part of it.
Exactly.
Because we be apart from so be we are many first person we are say and obi. The party MPP crisis a woman also Bempa is part of it. Very stupid guy writing stupid letters around. See, and so many occasions I have told you on so many occasions that look, if you want to have if person minyan to kwa minu benyan to kwa. Una we dadaba wo busu for to twen wo ye dadaba. And despite and his people on this occasion must take this serious.
Very,
this is a civilized country.
I was here, I saw everything that went.
Yes, and we cannot sit here and pretend and start going to talk about another issue. We have to take this serious. Also, Bempa can pick his phone and call UTV and say, "You be good station." Foolish boy, idiot. Who wait to UTV? Obia so bibi okroma. Adentia. No also Bempa tama Rollins here Rollins no join as near your born you okroma. Na wo hefa. Ye ni Akufuado, me ni Akufuado, enam ye ko hwe Togo sika to suga ye da Shekina hotel wa na wo so empa wo hefa. Wo sika sen na campaign. Aboa. And yes, Anna, it affects the whole MPP as a party.
Yeah.
You can't say MPP. I don't could be on MPP ni. Nana be on MPP ni. Could be on the Bombers will be abaha. Stephen Tim on your MPP ni. And we cannot attack the whole MPP. Just one idiot. One idiot. Me last week na me ni ha. Say MPP let away. Control let away ba ha. So when who let away? What can?
Last week Bulldog can live.
Who can let away? Okay.
Very useless letter.
I agree with you. Control let away the ba ha. Reform United Showbiz program. Nipa na ocho let away na. Enye ono na churo here. Obi na churo no or signing him say one kind. Nipa na di sha se menim no. Onim nyansa. Whoever wrote this, I'm saying it be a pressure. I don't say no more year or hand it be a pressure. I will just give him the benefit because meaning nipa na ocho let nipa na ya tro ni din wa ha as your friend is saying William Yeboah meaning no. Onye no ocho let away. Obi answer the phone. Most MPP Google article 162 1992 Constitution. Google 1624. Can I dey draw? So we Google now kind sa dey na. Beso so create ankasa no kan na ho so be kan man 1624. 162. We dey call 162 na kind 4 no. Say then na draw. Or say you're reforming United Showbiz program, and this is coming from a political party. We are sana wuye. Salet mpese mo kan sa de ni
1624.
162.
Editors, publishers of newspapers and other institutions of mass media shall not be subject to control or interference by governments, nor shall they be penalized or harassed for their editorial opinion and views or the content of their publications.
Fine, no problem. This for now kind no, it be all kind of speed. But so can Ghana 40 as now say nipa no kind let away no or troll how they do it. This is a political party telling us to reform this program that we do. And this is what the Constitution of Ghana is saying. Read it for.
Editors and publishers of newspapers and other institutions of the mass media shall not be subject to control or interference by governments, nor shall they be penalized or harassed for their editorial opinions and views or the content of their publications.
Yang aban emrana ema MPP ye party to me operate wo krom ha. Emrana ema Nana Akufo-Addo to me ye president of Ghana no. Sambrand ya true almost ade ye wo he. No political party can interfere in what we are doing here.
I'm saying you're buying the tray. Be political
I'm
party.
talking about this political party as MPP. So now now I'm coming.
Well, in the last 10, 12 minutes or so, we've been playing you excerpts of what happened in the studios of UTV, just to give you a comprehensive background to the conversation we're about to have. And just in case you didn't watch that program or you've not seen it on social media in terms of what actually happened, the event, that unfortunate event that happened. And that's why we spent some time playing all of these video clips. So you saw Kwame Asariobin, who is popularly known as A+, expressing his disgust at two things. So the first one you saw was when he was reacting to the thugs who had invaded the UTV studios during UTV showbiz, and was saying that he actually has an idea. The person was behind the invasion, and he was warning the person, the next time the person does such a thing, he would personally mobilize his own thugs and go to one of the state institutions in this country, that's Ghana Gas, and teach the person a lesson. So that's what A+ said. That was right after the invasion. And then the other video you saw him when he was wearing a suit and a white shirt. He was talking about, he was also expressing his disgust at a letter which had been written by the New Patriotic Party to the management of, the Despite Media Group. UTV specifically was one of their companies. And the NPP asking them to take a second look at the editorial decisions or discretions, because it appears that the program has lost its original meaning or its original intent, okay, and has shifted into a mere political platform that is being used to attack the NPP. And if that is the case, that the NPP says they deserve a fair representation, A+ disagrees with that, takes the letter and tears it to pieces. But there's a bone of contention. Some have said that that letter never got to the management of UTV. In fact, I've watched senior presenters on UTV saying that that letter never got to the management of UTV. But the NPP say they personally presented that letter to the management of UTV. So we don't know who's telling us the truth. But whatever it is, A+ tore the letter into shreds and says the NPP has no business, and that I agree with him, has no business interfering in the content or editorial content of any media house in terms of what they believe should be done or should not be done. In any case, how did the NPP know exactly what the philosophy that drove the creation of that program was, so that you're now saying that they're drifting apart? So that was what you heard A+ say. Let's read that letter that the NPP sent, well, apparently or reportedly delivered to the management of UTV. So it reads, it says, it has come to the attention of the leadership of the New Patriotic Party an unfortunate incident that occurred last night at UTV involving some sympathizers of the NPP who went to the studio to raise a protest against the United Showbiz program. Okay, sorry. This is actually a letter from the NPP on the attack, not the earlier one that went to the station about editorial decision. So please come back to that letter. Let me read it quick. Please come back to the beginning so I can walk my viewers through. Good. It has come to the attention of the leadership of the New Patriotic Party an unfortunate incident that occurred last night at UTV involving some sympathizers of the NPP who went to the studio to raise a protest against the United Showbiz program. We wish to state forcefully that the said act was not sanctioned by the party, and we apologize unreservedly to UTV, the program team, and the general public. It continues. the right of citizens to free speech is one of the cardinal values of our party, and we're committed to its advancement. The proper way for anyone to express any concerns over any program by any media house would be to make a formal complaint. Advancing in numbers to interrupt the work of any media house is unacceptable, and we condemn it. The Ghana Police Service is currently investigating the matter, and the party intends to cooperate fully with investigators to deal with the matter expeditiously. Richard Anyagba, National Communications Director, New Patriotic Party. Now, this is the letter. This is the letter which was sent apparently to the management of UTV, complaining about the content of the United Showbiz program, which in their view has become very political. It says, despite media, Ship House, Tesano Accra, September 19, 2023, it says, Dear Sir, I trust this message finds you well. I have been directed by the leadership of the New Patriotic Party to draw your attention to some recent observations we have made regarding the primetime program United Showbiz. Currently, United Showbiz appears to be operating as a platform that serves the interest of the opposition NDC. It is evident that any discerning viewer who has followed the program in recent weeks that its content has significantly deviated from the original purpose and relevance. The program now frequently features intemperate language, unconstructive rants, and outright insults directed at the presidency by panelists. This has become a recurring pattern that raises the question of whether the show has inadvertently transitioned into a political talk show. If such a transformation is indeed the case, it is imperative to address the imbalance in representation. Granting the New Patriotic Party a fair and equitable platform to observe or to ensure objectivity, fairness, and equity. In upholding your station's duty of care towards the public, it is incumbent upon the management to facilitate equal representation rather than turning a blind eye to this issue. A thriving democracy thrives on diverse viewpoints to propose and debate policies. While we in the NPP welcome a mature conversation about the economy and its related challenges, we cannot condone the erosion of public discourse to such a lamentable level. This is not merely a matter of politics or criticisms. And it continues. Yep. Michael, please go ahead. That's the end of the statement? Okay. It said it pertains to maintaining respect for the presidency and a sense of responsibility towards one another. The United Showbiz program has in recent times witnessed an unwarranted surge in disparaging comments targeted at the president, which has raised concerns among a section of the populace. The program subjected the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, to ridicule and criticism in the last few episodes. Prior to that, the program targeted Ashanti Regional Chairman Wuntumi. The manner in which these individuals were treated, often without a fair chance for rebuttal, raises questions about the program's intentions, given the impression that it has metamorphosed into a political talk show. It is disheartening that this program has strayed from its intended path and ventured into the realm of a political and propaganda masquerading as an entertainment show. The sudden departure from the established norms of television entertainment is puzzling, given the global television landscape where popular shows have refrained from entangling themselves in political matters. Thanks for your anticipated cooperation and consideration. That's yours sincerely, William Amoasina. But this is where it gets interesting. William Yamua is the director of finance of the party. I don't know how he becomes the signatory of that statement when it should be Richard Anyagba, who is the director of communications of the party. So that's the letter which has got those thugs incensed and decided to storm the studios of UTV to look for Kwame Asare-Chidako and to beat him up or to do whatever, or to harm him or whatever, to attack him. Yeah, and so the program had to actually delay for close to 1 hour, 7 minutes before it resumed. Right. So here we go. I've read to you the statement by the MPP. I've read to you the statement, or in fact, the letter that was supposed to be sent to the management of the Despite Media Group. And then the Information Ministry says the Ministry of Information on Saturday, October 7, 2023, made a report to the Ghana Police Service to intervene in an incident at the studios of UTV, a private TV station in Accra. This followed reports to the Media Monitoring Center of the ministry that a group of persons had entered UTV's studios allegedly without authorization to express displeasure at the content of a live TV program. The ministry condemns in no uncertain terms any unauthorized entry into media organizations in protest at media content or interfere with media work. The right to free expression and the freedom of the media are key pillars of our democracy and must be fiercely protected. The ministry stands with the police and the court in the conduct of their duties. The ministry wishes to encourage the media, especially broadcast media, show hosts and panelists, to do their utmost best to help promote national cohesion, even as they exercise their fundamental freedoms. The NDC also issues a statement, and it says, yesterday's event adds to the litany of attacks that goons associated with the MPP have visited on people performing their lawful duties, including a pregnant judge sitting in an open court in Kumasi some time back. The latest incident is yet another clearest evidence of how intolerant, violent, and tyrannical this Akufo-Addo MPP government has become. We call on the Ghana Journalists Association and other vanguards of free speech, civil society, as well as traditional and moral societies to speak out before it's too late. Our press freedom and democratic credentials are under serious attack, and to remain silent in these times is to encourage the triumph of evil. We further call on the Ghana Police Service to expeditiously investigate this incident and ensure that all the culprits are duly prosecuted in accordance with the law. The NDC shall be monitoring every development on this important matter and will not accept anything short of justice. So that's the NDC's statement on this particular issue. And also I've read the MPP's one, and also the GJ condemns this. I'll just read a paragraph of the GJ's statement. It says that the Ghana Journalists Association calls on the Ghana Police Service to immediately arrest all the hooligans who attacked United Television last Saturday night and prosecute them promptly. We're informed that about 30 hooligans attacked the studios of the Accra-based private television station. Although the police arrested some of them, others managed to escape. The GJ expects the police to arrest and prosecute the perpetrators expeditiously, just as they exemplarily, and although the police arrested some of them, others managed to escape. The GJ expects the police to arrest and prosecute the perpetrators expeditiously, just as the GJ also calls on the government, non-government organizations, civil society organizations, diplomatic community, international agencies, and all well-meaning Ghanaians and people of good conscience to roundly condemn the barbaric act and masterminds of same. Let me introduce my resource persons as we get into the conversation this morning on the show. So we have today, and some of them are yet to joining us shortly. So Kingsley Amwakwa Boedu is a government spokesperson joining us shortly in the studio. But Alfred Ogbami, who is an NDC member and also the former managing editor of the Jinyame Concord, he's been around for a very long time as a media practitioner. In fact, he got into politics. I'm talking about active politics just quite recently. So he's always been a journalist, and he tells me journalism first before any other thing. He's here with us. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure. Right. Thank you. Please switch your microphone on. It was actually off. Yes. Good to see you, Mr. Alfred Ogbami.
Good to see you too.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Long time. Let me also say that I have Dr. John Osai Kwapo. He is a political scientist, a democracy and development fellow, CDD Ghana. He's with us. He's joined us via Zoom. Doc, good morning. Okay, I'm told. Okay, so we'll go to him shortly. He'll be joining us via Zoom. And then Nanisiama Hansen, also known as he used to be Bulldog, but now says he's Bull God. He's an artist manager and a regular panel member on this show that we're talking about on UTV. I'm talking about the United Showbiz program, and he will also be joining us shortly for us to start for us to have this conversation. So you, I'm sure, would want to. I'm sure you'd want to contribute to the conversation. It's 0249 155 646. 0249 155 646. So it's about the UTV invasion and matters arise. My name is Aldumor. So Doc, I understand, has joined us on Zoom or via Zoom now. Doc, it's good to have you. Good morning. Thank you very much for making time to join us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Great. So I'll start with Mr. Alfred Ogbami. You have been practicing this business or enterprise of journalism for a very long time, perhaps more than 30 years. I mean, when you heard about the UTV invasion, I don't know what was the first thing that crossed your mind. What was the immediate reaction, and what do you make of it? I mean, from the standpoint of one, as a journalist, and two, as an NDC, as a staunch NDC member.
First and foremost, I didn't watch the program live, but I saw it almost live.
Right.
I mean, things started unfolding. I was on
especially on social media.
Exactly. So I then started having videos of it. And I was surprised and taken aback. But somehow, too, it wasn't surprising.
Okay.
I think it wasn't surprising in the sense that it's become a norm under this administration to see some of these things. I mean, it's not the first time. We've had instances of sympathizers of members raiding broadcast media houses. I remember SYZ, the Reverend Owusu Bimpa, went with his own church members, guns, stormed to into the studio, beat folks up. In the end, that case went nowhere. And there have been a series of events like that. So I wasn't surprised. But I was somehow also surprised, like I said, because this was the first time where you were having an official representation of a party, or party talks, raiding a studio, identifying themselves as such, and virtually reading the riot's art to the media house. And that was why I was somehow surprised when I saw the part of the statement by the Director of Communication seems to suggest that these were sympathizers of the party. Indeed, they were not. These were active members and officers of the MPP,
Okay.
led by their deputy youth organizer, who is indeed at this moment the de facto youth organizer.
Right.
And various youth organizers from...
For Greater Accra, you mean?
For Greater Accra.
Right.
No, the national deputy youth
organizer, national.
of the national.
Right.
And as at the moment, he's a de facto youth organizer because
Right.
the youth organizer himself, I'm told, is aspiring for a post and therefore seems not to be active. And then you had...
Nana B himself? Nana Bache?
No, there's a...
wasn't Salam?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
exactly. So, and then you had key, when I say officers of the party, you had the Anya Sotom youth organizer, you had the Okankwe Central Youth Organizer, you had other constituencies who were clearly identified. They were in the video, and clearly they identified themselves as officers of the party, raided the studio, and did things that are untoward. It was surprising because you see, ordinarily, if you had a cause to complain, there are processes of doing so.
Right.
And indeed, the letter they wrote, if it had been properly delivered and been kept on a quiet, could have been seen as a representation of your frustration.
Right.
In as much as anybody can also say it's an attempt to direct the media as a source to do, but it's an expression of a viewpoint, and that may be allowed.
Right.
But the point is, that letter itself, from all the evidence available now, wasn't delivered. It was written, communicated to the general public, not delivered to
Through
the
social
media
media.
house. Yes, social media.
Because according to A+, he got his from social media.
Indeed, before A+ tore the letter up,
Yeah.
and which is problematic though, but hey, it was read the week before by Bulldog. I happened to have watched that video, and I saw Bulldog reading it on his
that
phone.
statement, yeah.
That statement on the phone. And then the subsequent week, A+ also having picked a copy from the social media, apparently printed it out, read it, and tore it as a sign of his disappointment with his party's approach.
Right.
Remember, this is a letter that had not been delivered to the media house.
Right.
So, once they don't have a copy officially, how do they respond?
I mean, they can't act on something which has not formally gotten to them.
Exactly.
Or gotten to the attention. Yeah.
And I was more alarmed because at the very time the youth were in the studios, threatening the media house and insisting on having their way, including who must be on the show, what kind of representation must have, and all that. The second most important gentleman of this country, the vice president, the wife, and others were meeting with the owners of the media house at the very same time.
You mean at the time that these thugs invaded the studios of UTV, the vice president and his wife
Samira
were in a meeting with the management of Despite?
They were at a party.
Oh, they were at a party.
At a party, an event.
An event, okay.
With Despite and a few friends.
Right.
I'm not too sure whether
Dr. Forosapon's daughter was getting married. And that's the program you're talking about.
I watched the program and I saw them even congratulating Samira on her birthday and all that. I'm not too sure whether it was a birthday party, whether it was Dr. Forosapon's daughter's event, but whatever it is, they were in that meeting.
Are you suggesting by what you're saying that the people whom they're fighting for don't seem to have a problem and they're fine because they're attending?
I'm not suggesting so. I'm suggesting
because
that
the comparison you're making.
Yeah, I'm suggesting that they went there as a representative of the party.
Yes.
They acted in that light.
Right.
And they sought to push the claim that they were there because of the interests of the vice president and others.
Yes.
I'm saying that could have been communicated at that meeting.
Okay. Right.
Where the vice was meeting all
never mind, it was an informal setting. But it still could have been communicated.
In fact, that letter, actually the best approach to dealing with the concerns they had was through an informal process.
Okay.
Call the management and express your concerns. That is what it should have been. But to have written a letter, not deliver it, and send tax, official tax of the party, and I'm saying official because they are not sympathizers. They are members of the parties and officers, youth organizers of the party. Because at least I know three. Anyaso Tuma saw their youth organizer. I saw the Okankwe Center, and is it a Masaman or I saw another? I think the Amasaman youth organizer, whom I have a fair idea of. Then, of course, was the deputy who led them, Mandela, who is a TESCON official. He's been at their events and all that. So for me, I was alarmed. I was alarmed and asked myself, what is happening? How come the party that has a motto of development and freedom tend to be taking us aback on the media front over these years? Because look, check the media record of this administration in terms of freedoms over the past few years. Realize that it's been retrogressing. It's been going back. And I'm not talking of opinion. I'm talking of the research by...
You're saying these are facts.
These are facts. And these things are a result of some of these conducts. I do not remember in the history of this country, and I stand to be corrected, where you've had these numbers of officers of a party. Officers, I'm talking of officers, not sympathizers. Not just even mere members, but officers. People who can officially represent the party because they've been elected or appointed so to do. Raiding a media house that is supposedly, indeed, not supposedly, the media house itself subsequently and consequently has admitted that they've been virtually shading a number of things that they could have put out on the MPP. I mean, some of those people you were quoting.
Right.
They say, Abramo, we've been sitting on these things for quite long. There are many things that we sit on, we don't say, and how do you treat us like this? So how do you do this? And you see, I was more alarmed because subsequent to the event happening, I've seen what I see as a deliberate, confusing narrative where you have the deputy communications director being the one who publicly advocated the raid on the studio, of the raid on this particular studio.
Ernesto Usubempa complained about the modus operandi of the actors of that particular program, and used all kinds of disparaging remarks about what he thought of the program. But I didn't hear him say go and attack them. All he said was, if the NDC were in government today, sympathizers or members of the NDC would have taken an action, would have intervened. They would have attacked, according to him, they would have attacked. In fact, they would not have sat aloof whilst the party was being attacked. That's what Ernesto Usubempa said.
No,
but he didn't say go and attack. Or you're
he
saying
didn't say go and attack, but
Okay.
he gave an inference. He said, and you are sitting down watching. He said, and NPP youth are sitting down watching. What is the import of that?
Right.
There are nuances to communication.
Right.
And indeed, you see, what he said in terms of even the NDC would have raided if the NDC was in power, it isn't even true. Look, there's a clear example, and I'll give you a clear example.
Before you go to the examples, let me pick the thoughts of Doc, and I'll come back to you so you can give us examples as well. In case you just joined us, this is Inside Pages on Metro Television. We're having a conversation about that UTV invasion. Very unfortunately, very reprehensible and unacceptable conduct of some MPP members who decided to take the law into their own hands and invade the studios of UTV ostensibly to attack Kwame Asari Obeng, who is a regular panel member on the show, because he tore a letter they are sent to UTV complaining about the attitude of the host and the guests. He tore that into shreds. They have a problem with that. Two, they also have a problem with the fact that there's been a consistent attack on the MPP and the president and the vice president on that platform. As far as they're concerned, it's supposed to be entertainment, and in entertainment, there's nothing political. There shouldn't be anything political about entertainment, and that's according to them. And so they do not understand why the entertainment show has taken a bit of a political twist, and that's why they're upset. Let me go to Dr. John Osai-Kwabo. He's been on Zoom for a while now and pick his thoughts. So, Doc, I'll ask you the same question. You are usually based in America. I don't know whether you were watching that show. How did you get to find out about what had happened? And what was your immediate reaction when you heard about this invasion, even before we look at the article that you're written, a very powerful, very beautiful article. We'll look at that. But what was your immediate reaction? What were the thoughts that were running through your mind?
So good morning, and thank you very much. I was quite shocked. I think I saw video clips of the incident on social media, and my initial reaction was one of shock, because in moments like that, when people's passions overtake them in matters of politics, you cannot guarantee what they will do. Right? I mean, imagine if there was, for example, a counter group or some individuals in there who also decided to, respond with the same anger and passion, and what would have happened, in the studio. So that was my first initial reaction, one of shock and one of also concern, thinking about what could have happened to the safety of the persons involved. And this is where you are also then grateful that I don't know how quickly it took the law enforcement folks to get there, but I think it was also helpful that eventually the police also showed up to try and talk to these individuals and try and figure out exactly how they can de-escalate the situation. Because in moments like that, the last thing you want is an escalation, of the situation, because you just don't know what is going to happen.
What do you make of the reasons or the justifications that they have adduced? And just the justification is in two folds or two strands. One, we wrote a letter as a political organization to the management of UTV, complaining about the modus operandi or the model of that show called United Showbiz, because as far as the MPP is concerned, this is an entertainment show. This has nothing to do with politics. Now, you use a show like that to denigrate and use intemperate language. You're attacking the president, you're attacking the vice president, and yet you call it an entertainment show. We sent you a letter. You decided to tear you allowed a panel member who's a very critical, who's a very critical voice in that setup to tear that letter into shreds. And that wasn't enough. You haven't even bothered to respond to the letter. And so we have every right to go there and, to storm there to, express our protest in whichever way we believe we can, because we're looking for the guy. We want to teach him a lesson. What do you make of the justification, the reasons that they gave when they went there? Never mind the subsequent, apologies that have been rendered. But when they got there, that was the reason they gave.
Well, there's still no justification for forcibly entering the space of a media station to express your dissatisfaction or disapproval over the content of a show. Yes, we all, and I'm sure all individuals, especially those who have strong partisan feelings, watch shows, listen to things on radio that they disapprove of. I remember one day my mom called me very upset because she was in a taxi. She asked the taxi driver to turn off the radio station because the station was saying something critical of the president, and she's a partisan of the ruling party. And when the taxi driver said, "I won't," she said, "Well, then let me get down." And so she got down, right? But you didn't see her, banding together with other party sympathizers to storm the radio station to express their disappointment. Mr. Gabi Ochredaku wrote something very interesting this week. I think it was a tweet in which he said, look, you can either, there are channels for expressing your disapproval. You can go to the National Media Commission, or you can also tune out, which is actually also a viable alternative, right? I don't have to watch, I don't have to listen, so that I get infuriated over content that I disapprove with. But there is really no justification to walk into the studios of a radio station or a TV station to say, I don't like what you're saying, and I'm here so we can settle it. If they are saying things that are incorrect, if they are saying things that are defamatory, if they are saying things that impugn on the integrity of individuals which are not true, again, the system allows, procedures. There are measures in place that you can take to deal with that. But we cannot enter the spaces of our media just because we disagree with the content of a particular show. I mean, think about some of our most popular morning, afternoon, evening shows on radio and television, and some of the things that are expressed as part of our political discourse, some things that other individuals may also strongly disagree with. Imagine we all decide that we heard something on radio or we heard something on TV that we didn't like, and after we wrote to them, they didn't say anything, and so we are going to get together with a group of others and just storm that place and settle it. That's, for me, is not the way we resolve political differences or the things that we disapprove of in our media spaces.
Now, help us understand what appears to be a bit of a contradiction here. So you have the NPP as a party condemning this and saying that they're going to fully cooperate with the police to get to the bottom of this, expedite action, and whatever it is that would happen to these chaps would happen to them. Basically, the law would take its course. So that's the NPP. You have the Information Ministry that says, well, we condemn it, but, people should be allowed to exercise their freedom of speech as guaranteed in the 1992 Constitution. But at the same time, we, the media, must be careful with the way we're going about their job in order that we do not undermine national cohesion. So that's the Information Ministry. You've had the youth organizer coming out publicly on some other media platforms to also apologize. We've heard the national chairman, who's been on some other media platforms, to engage the owners and management of the Despite Media Group to apologize publicly. But then you have a presidential staffer, Nana Hesse Ojiri, who says, and I'm going to read what he says. That's a presidential staffer, seat of government. He says, you are condemning the invitation of the studios. When the NPP wrote a petition to the station raising concerns about the show, it was openly torn into pieces on live television. When persuasion fails, force is applied. This gentleman is known. Nobody has called him out. Nobody has called him to order. That statement is still on. He hasn't retracted nothing. Help us understand. How do we put all of this in perspective for us?
So you see, one of the things that I always say is that political parties are inanimate objects, right? What gives life to a political party and a government are the faces and the voices that express particular opinions or take certain actions, right? So even if a particular statement or a particular action is not officially sanctioned either by the party or by the government, giving your association with the party or the government, some of that political fallout inures to the government, right? So for me, the condemnation that has come from the party chairman, the National Youth Organization over the incident, I think these are steps in the right direction, right? Because you don't want to directly or indirectly be seen as a political party that condones and gives its blessing to such unfortunate incidents, right? You don't want things like that to become a political liability for your political party. And so it's very unfortunate that an individual then who is a presidential staffer at the seat of government would endorse it, quote unquote, by this very statement that you've read, and actually say that where persuasion fails, force is applied. Force, for me, is never a tool that we should use in political discourse. I mean, I'm sure there are things that he says that others may disagree with, or others in his political party or his government may disagree with. Is he then saying that force should be the way that we settle the disagreements that we have on matters of politics, on matters of governance? No, there's no justification for the use of force in our political spaces. You don't do that.
Now, you would expect naturally that Nana Hesse Ojiri retracts and apologizes for that statement in view of the position that's been taken by the party and the government, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes, but
okay.
Again, it's up to him to decide, what he wants to do. But again, this is also, an illustration of the fact that we may all have strong opinions about certain things and strong differences. So imagine that we may have strong opinions, strong differences on some of these matters.
Right.
But nobody is saying let's use, force to resolve this.
We will look at the bigger picture, and the bigger picture for you is about the adversarial nature of our politics. And indeed,
yes,
in that article that you have written, which I have read, where you title it "Politics: The UTV Incident and Our Democratic Temperament," I would want us to look at that when I come back to you, and then also whether you were surprised that it's been 5 days now. The police hasn't told us anything about what has happened to the 16 persons who have been arrested. The NPP itself is yet to tell us what they have done by way of what the fate of these guys will be, whether they're going to be suspended, sacked, whatever it is, we don't know. I'll pick your thoughts on it. So there are two questions for you when I come back to you. But let me also say that we've been joined by a private legal practitioner and a government spokesperson. That's Mr. Kingsley Amoakwa-Boedu. He's also joined us here. Thank you very much for your time. It's always a pleasure seeing you here, sir. Thank you. Now, sorry, your microphone, if you can switch it on. Yes, it's good to see you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, how How do you respond to persons who feel that the apology that's been rendered by the party and the government is not sincere enough? Because if you have the likes of Nana Hesse Ojiri, who is a presidential staffer, who seems to say that he doesn't see anything wrong with what has happened. This is not somebody who works out. It is a seat of government. And then also here we are, the guy who has been, I don't want to say accused, but the guy who has been, I don't want to accuse is too strong, but the man who has been suspected to have masterminded all of this. I'm talking about Ernest Osubampa. He's just written a statement to say that he doesn't know anything about it. But his body language and everything does not show or does not tell that he actually doesn't know anything about what has happened. What would be your response to that type of narrative or commentary out there that where some people are saying they not actually trust that the government is apologetic about what has happened?
Okay, good morning to viewers and listeners. Good morning to my Sinfosu people. Before we even get to that, I am treading cautiously because, I mean, there's no justification for what these young men did. There's no justification whatsoever. As a legal practitioner, as someone who believes in press freedom, and all the other rights inherent in the Constitution. It's a constitutional right. Freedom of speech, a constitutional right. In fact, the current president, my president, has done a lot in terms of freedom of speech. Personally, leading Kumiprako demonstrations and whatnot, and then when he was an attorney general, he led in decriminalizing the Criminal Libel Act and whatnot. He's done a lot of things, all right? And so it is not the position that anyone can even begin to say that, but this and therefore that, as in A+ has torn paper and therefore this. And I think the discussion, any idea that the party has sent someone and the party was involved and all that, I think we should disabuse our minds of that.
So you meant it?
Sorry?
So basically you meant it when you say you're sorry?
Precisely.
Okay.
Otherwise, the general secretary, that very night, because something just happened on my phone and I had to switch on because I don't watch that program. Something just happened on my phone. I just watched. The moment I switched there, the director of communications was there, unreservedly apologizing, condemning the act. That very night, he went there. Then the general secretary has been there. Then the party chairman himself has gone there. And if what you were saying was right, that very night, did you say they were at the party? And so, how would that even happen? That if someone would send them from the party, would send people there. And so, it is not that the party did send that. And every commentary we've made on that, and I've said that on your sister, on other media houses, on TV, and said that no, the party does not support that. The party did not sanction that. The party condemns that. And you see, from a communications point of view, every platform, no matter how small, is an avenue to project the party and the party's good that it's doing. And we've done a lot of things. We just happen to be in this economic difficulty. So this is not a time to be, say we did this, we've done it. Because what the people want is to solve economic issues. And that's what we are working at. We have a whole year before an election. And that's what we are aiming at doing. Between that time, the last thing we want is what these young men did. The last, because the very next morning, what we wanted to be trending is the fact of the second tranche of the IMF. How would we, if we send them, how would we time it so that it is drowned all the goodness that, because the IMF, the second tranche came in because we had done good with the first tranche. So why would we? Even the time, everything is wrong about it. In fact, when my senior brother and Anna Akomia said they must also apologize to the party, I feel it. They must also apologize to the party, those young men.
They haven't done that. They haven't issued any apology letter.
You see, when it comes to intra-party things, a lot of things will go on that we will not want it out there. Right. So you never know what what sanctions
once
would
the
be called
MPP
or what that. But what we are interested in
Yeah.
is to create the impression that no matter how small, you see, there are even some platforms which are manifestly NDC, manifestly MPP. I have seen manifestly NDC platform, someone, a hard-faced NDC will come there and sit down and there will be a discussion. You see, no matter how far is swung,
But Kingsley,
the pendulum has
won't-
swung.
won't the MPP
So
have looked-
we want to say that no, we did not send anyone. And whatever platform we get, we want to also be on, and so that we will be heard.
Okay, but
So-
once the MPP had looked good, if a day or two after the incident issues a statement saying you have either, suspended them or you've dismissed them, basically, basically come up with some punitive actions against these guys, wouldn't that have made the party look good and to sort of tell us that you really mean business? Rather than just apologizing and yet the perpetrators are walking free, nothing has happened to them.
Oh, you see,
Apart from the police arresting them and saying they're
yeah,
investigating.
and you see, the police is doing its investigation.
Okay.
Okay, with the party has things we must do and which we will do and which we are doing.
Yeah, since last week Saturday.
We
Today's
cannot
Saturday.
cannot say that
8 days after the incident.
Yes, we cannot say that within 8 days we definitely taking punitive action, and we have our investigations to do because, as I said, it's even disrupted our own communication.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, so
and
show that.
and so
Prove that to us.
No,
Tell us that you're angry, you're upset about what has happened.
no. That you are assuming that is the best decision to be made.
Okay.
I am saying that we have to look at it holistically and look at what should be done. For those who are not within the party, we are saying that we want to be heard on every platform. So anything that undermines that affects us negatively. And so we would never send people to go and disrupt. I mean, that's an illegality.
Okay.
I have been on UTV programs, all right? Imagine I was sitting there and someone also said that what probably my position, and so the person came there. No one would like that. No one would like that.
Okay.
In fact, the media house also issued a statement. UTV, the media house itself, not just the UTV, issued a statement, and it said that he's assuring his workers that their safety is their concern, which is prime. You see, because there are several other issues that come into it. Security issues, whether someone has a right to now come and dictate to someone the content of his show and whatnot. Remember that there are several other shows that we are actively involved in. Kwame Sefakai's program, actively involved in. The TV, the morning discussion, actively involved in. So we can never take a step that undermines the media house.
Just before you came, and let me say that Mr. Siam Hansen, popularly known as Bulldog, was supposed to be in the studio, but something came up. He's going to join us via Zoom. He would join us shortly so that we can pick his thoughts on what he makes of what has happened. And the reason we're talking to him is that he is a regular panel member on that show. And so he knows a lot about the program and what the original idea for setting up the United Showbiz was, and whether he agrees that it's deviated, for which reason the MPP is not happy, and you had some of the thugs go in there to go and attack them. So I'm told that Nane Siama Hansing has joined us. Bulldog, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages on Metro Television.
Thank you so much, bro.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I couldn't. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Sorry I couldn't make it to the studio. I'm very, very sorry.
Wonderful. Now, Nana, why have you guys turned United Showbiz, and I'm speaking here based on exactly the sentiments that have been expressed by the New Patriotic Party. Why have you turned United Showbiz, which is supposed to be purely an entertainment show, into a political platform? And you're only attacking the president, the vice president, the MPP. What have they done to you? Why?
That's a very it's an exciting question. Good morning to your listeners and viewers. Now, first and foremost, I mean, who says we've turned the show into a political show? You know, we're citizens of this country, right? And we are affected by the decisions people at the top make as a people. So our whole life is politics. What we even discuss there as entertainment is entertainment politics. So when somebody sits somewhere and says, we have turned the show into politics, then they don't even know what they're talking about. And that's exactly what the MPP communicated. And they are clueless about what the show was set up to do, the fundamentals of the show, and the whole concept of the show. So we have not turned anything into nothing. Our lives is politics. Everybody, the man, the person in the market, the kid in the school, whoever is in church.
Okay.
It's political. So let us get this clear. We have partisan politics, and we have politics as a broad topic. So what are they saying?
Right. Now, Nana, you have been on this show for a very long time. I mean, you're a regular panelist.
Yes.
You're a regular panel.
Yes.
And indeed, the general talk is that once you or A+ are not on the show sort of takes a dip. I mean, that's how crucial you are to the United Showbiz. Now, before you joined that program, what was the understanding that you had? What was the discussion? What was the conversation that you had with either the programs manager or the management of the station as to really what was the philosophy that it's actually driving, or actually that drove the setting up or the creation of that particular program? Help us understand this, because I'm sure if I were an MPP person, I'll be more than happy to hear, what is the United Showbiz program all about?
Okay, so let me say this. I did not join that program. I started that program.
Fantastic.
Myself, A+. Yes, myself, A+, Arnold Asamoah Bedu, Nanama McBrown. So I didn't join it. I'm part of the
wonderful. Thanks.
Concept creation.
Thanks for setting the record straight on that.
Yes, and I will not disclose what the program is about because the MPP wants to hear it. This particular juncture, there's no need for me to explain myself to the MPP, because as I sit here now, I could have been dead. My colleagues could have been dead. Plus, Moro, again, I cannot ask you what your program, as you sit on right now, was set up for. I don't understand. What is wrong is wrong. People barged into a place where they had no right to barge into and misbehaved. And I heard you earlier when I joined. It's been 5 days. Nothing, absolutely nothing has been done to these people. Now, the appalling thing with what happened or what transpired a week ago is that these guys actually, imagine what we're doing right now, yeah? And I drive into your space, hijacked the show, you had to go off air, and you call the police, and the police comes on the show and sit on the set with me and my goons and negotiating. Bro, we have no explanation. We owe nobody an explanation.
So you didn't find anything wrong with the letter which was issued by the MPP to the management of Despite Media, which was asking you to change or to shift and come back, as what they claim, come back on track. It's supposed to be entertainment, nothing to do with politics. They have a problem with A+ tearing that particular letter into shreds, and that was one of the reasons why they came there.
Okay, so if you let me try and get you right. You said I did not find anything wrong.
I'm just asking what you make of it.
Okay, so if you follow the show religiously, a week ago I read the letter off my phone because we had intercepted that letter. You understand? I read it. I got the letter and I read it. Now, if I had the paper, if I printed it or I intercepted it on a paper, I would have burnt the paper. I wouldn't have torn it up. I would have
Really?
burnt it.
You'd have burnt
Because
it?
Yes, because the content of the letter does not make any sense. The content of the letter doesn't make any sense to start with. It doesn't make sense. A plus was civil. He tore it up. I would have burnt it. It doesn't make sense.
Why doesn't it make
Because first
sense?
and foremost-
Why doesn't it make sense? They have a problem with the fact that you're attacking the party, attacking the government. They want a representative on the show to also talk for government. Everybody's against the government. Why?
Okay, let me say this. The only reason why anybody, and I want to state this again, the only reason why anyone can attack or speak against, not attack is a strong word, so let me use speak against any government official, whether it's an MPP government or CPP government or NDC government, is that they are our investments. We pay them to do a job. That is the only reason why anybody can speak. Look, if the present administration are out of government, yeah, and anybody sits anywhere and speaks against them, I'll say that the person doesn't know what they're about. But the person can also come and say, oh, these people did this and did that. But for me, it's not about that. But if anybody is in government, president, whether it's His Excellency President Mahama or Akufo-Addo, once you are in government, you are responsible for our life. You understand what I'm saying? That is the only right any ordinary human being on the street has to complain, to criticize, to say whatever they want to say, because these people are running the affairs of our life. And let me say this, Moro. To politicians, right? To politicians, and especially Ghanaian politicians, politics to them is business. Politics for them is business. But to us, the citizenry, politics is our lives, is our livelihood. We depend on that. We depend on their policies and procedures that they use to run and govern this space. So we have every right. We have every right. Nobody should be even asking these questions. Nobody. That the NPP will sit down as a party and out of the, I don't know what they think or what entered their heads and will want to send us a letter. We should not even be having this discussion 2023. Bro, let me get back to what happened on Saturday. I'm saying that, look, go back. You can Google for your listeners or your viewers to watch. I sat on that show and made a statement. Yeah. I was arrested for 5 days, which is unconstitutional. Look, let me tell you this. When BNI is on your case, or when BNI arrests you, they have the right to hold you for whatever time what they want. I was picked up Rambo style. The only thing that they needed to add to what they did in front of my house was to add a helicopter. It would have been a Hollywood movie. They picked me up, put me in the BNI cell for 2 days, now transferred me to the police for another 3 days, and then I was sent to court. For the rest of the 2 years in my life, I was running to the court, and it was swift within 5 days. Usually it's 2 days. So it's been how many days now? The police is doing what investigation? Maybe I don't understand English, but what is investigation? My small little knowledge about investigation is that you do a query and find answers, and the answers are all over social media. The evidence is there. So what investigation are they? Why are these 16 young men that the police arrested like walking about for what? Yo, bro, Look, what happened? Look, Alfred Obami knows me very well. Yeah, I have been through worse times. Yeah, Alfred used to be my big man at the Ghanaian Chronicle, right?
Right.
We've been through worse times, but this is unprecedented. It has never happened in the history of Ghana and in the media space before. And nobody should sit there and speak English and come and tell us what they don't know.
Now,
if you mismanage, if you mismanage the affairs of this country, and people are speaking up, boss, why don't we pay taxes? Don't we buy stuff? Do we live in Ghana and shop in Nigeria? What is the MPP saying? What is the MPP saying?
Now, Bulldog, let me read something to you from the statement that was issued by the Information Ministry. And the Information Ministry says that the ministry has condemned in no uncertain terms any unauthorized entry into media organizations in protest at media content or interference with media work. The right to free expression and the freedom of the media are key pillars of our democracy and must be fiercely protected. But this is where it enjoins you and I want you to please listen and listen good. It says, it wishes to encourage the media, especially broadcast media, show hosts, and panelists, and that's where perhaps you come in, to do their utmost to help promote national cohesion, even as they exercise their fundamental freedoms. You agree, don't you?
I beg, I do. But what is national cohesion? What does that mean? What does that mean? I mean, what does that mean? What does that mean? And go back and ask. My point again is that we have every right as citizens of this country to express our views. And when the Ministry of Information is encouraging national cohesion, I'm saying, from which angle are they coming from? Which angle are they coming from? Look, let's stop being hypocritical in this country.
Okay.
Look, in the first term, administrative term of this government, people walked into courts, into a sitting court, and dragged somebody out. Till today, we don't know where the matter is. Owusu Bemba, the architect in this whole thing, has on several occasions called, text. I've sat on the show and he's threatened me personally before, and the tapes are there.
He's threatened you before?
Yes, on the show he called.
Really?
And said, Unye Berman. Yes, Unye Berman Chobia. I ignored it. He had sent text to colleagues of mine. Look, let me tell you this, yeah? I had a problem with my former artist, right? Shatawale. Owusu Bempa called media people to conspire against me over a matter that had been done and dusted with years back, that I was arrested for. Murder, right? And he wanted to bring this whole thing up, was paying people. Look, look, we know what is going on. And so they should stop. The MPP should just keep quiet. Look, they are just what, 1 year, 2 months away, or technically they have only 1 year in government. They have successfully ruined, or they have successfully mismanaged the affairs of this country. You should continue.
I'm going to ask you, please hang on a minute, but I'll come back to you with a question on what this would do to your psyche. I mean, both emotionally and psychologically, whether you will be able to go back on that platform with what you've seen, or this doesn't shake you in, if you use that word. It doesn't worry you, it doesn't bother you in any way. I'll come back to you on that. Please hang on a minute. But I don't know whether I should go to the doctor. So let me come back to you. You've had Bulldog.
And I've known Bulldog.
Oh, you've known him for a very
Oh, yes.
long
When I
time.
was
Yeah,
news
he
editor,
just
he was a
mentioned
cartoonist at Chronicle. He was a designer. I've known him for
nobody,
decades.
you see, that's the thing. Not many people know he's been a journalist too for a long time.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's why I told you I know him well. I know him well before he met a wife and all that. So and when I look at him, that was long before he became an artist manager and all that.
But there's a question I want to ask you. I mean, again, if you can put your NDC nets aside a bit and
I
look at this.
will gladly do so.
If I have a problem with the content or the editorial content of a program that airs on, say, radio or TV, is there anything wrong if I write a letter to show or to protest against that particular program? Or if I do that, it would amount to an interference on the editorial content of that particular show.
No way. It will not amount to an editorial.
So there's nothing wrong with that.
Yes.
You can
but
express
you must
opinion.
still put things within context.
Okay.
You've asked a general question.
Right.
But you must situate
within the context of what we're talking about.
Okay. The context of what we are talking about.
Right.
Ideally, we all have noses. Everybody has a right to an opinion. And indeed, even sitting here, there are aspects of the program that I think ought to be looked at. Sometimes in terms of the language.
Right.
But it's also important to note that certain decisions are sometimes deliberate. For example, I don't watch it regularly, but then over time I came to realize that it's a show where you don't have what I'll say a host dominating.
Right.
It appears to me to be a show where you have a moderator who moderates between experts, who may be probably more experts in the entertainment industry than even the moderator.
Right.
It happens to be that the previous moderator was herself a player in the industry. But you realize that A Price has been, for years, Bulldog has excelled in that industry. You look at the others, so they are experts in their own right. So what you then have, it appears to me to be somebody moderating the discussion and not somebody necessarily directing the discussion.
Right. Because
it's nothing new.
These are two different things.
Yes, and it's nothing new.
Right.
Look, I'll cite you an example. Watch Stephen Saka, Hard Talk, BBC. You watch his questioning style and you ask yourself, but is this an interview or is it an interrogation? It doesn't allow you to land. Yeah, he keeps interrupting and asking the next questions, but that is the style of the program.
Right.
And that is the style BBC has chosen to adopt.
For Hard Talk.
Hard Talk.
Yeah.
Because when you watch other BBC programs, you realize they are laid back. They allow you to speak, exhaust your answers.
And then move to the next resource person.
Exactly. So the point is that programs have designs, they have reasons, they may have concepts you may not know. You have a right to an opinion on it. But what you do not have is a right to trespass. What they did is a lawyer. They trespassed on the program. That is an offense. Threatened is an offense. They went there with some, we are told, had knives behind them.
Yeah.
Knives and weapons behind them.
In fact, apparently some of the thugs were even outside of the building.
Beyond
just a
that,
few of them were there.
Beyond that, they verbally express those threats. Say, we are here, we will sit down, we are waiting. This is criminal conduct. And I'm saying that we are not dealing with criminal conduct by sympathizers of the party or even ordinary members. We are dealing with criminal conduct by recognized officers of the party. And there's a difference. When somebody is an officer of a company or a party, it's different from just being a sympathizer. And you see, that is what makes it serious. And the worst aspect is that, look, we all know nothing will happen. Let us stop the pretense. Nothing will happen.
How do you know nothing will happen?
Oh,
the party says it will take the right decisions at the right time.
Look, and I'm taking my partisan bias again. Check the history and the record of NPP in power. It sings from both sides of the mouth on any given issue. It condemns, it defends. So at any point in time, members out there are able to pick what they want, depending on which part of the argument they want to go for. Right. So the president was misled into sacking the former energy minister, who were officially told. Mm-hmm. Who told you the president was misled? The president never said so. Mm-hmm. The same party, you've had members, when it sues them, make the argument. In this particular instance, it's not only as a Ojiri, as a presidential staffer who's defended it.
Yeah.
There's another lady presidential staffer who's also done so. And there are others who I haven't checked, because I would have to go through the presidential staffers list to be sure. But I've been told they're also presidential staffers who on their social media pages have done so. In this particular instance, if the party were to mean what they are saying, what would be wrong with saying we condemn the acts of our members? Mm-hmm. It wasn't done with official approval, though we acknowledge that they did it in the name of the party. We are taking internal measures to sanction them.
So within the next 48 hours, within 72 hours?
At least a communication to this effect would be an acknowledgement of the fact that you recognize the even members.
How grievous.
Exactly, and you're chic. But check all the statements. The ministry's statement said, allege it public, members of the public. Mm-hmm. Check it. Anyagbe's statement says sympathizers. We are communicators. You know PR. When you are writing statements, you know the nuances of words in there and all that. You've been in this business for long. When I look through the statements and I examine it, I see what is being done. And I don't want to pretend I can't.
Right.
And I'm telling you, nothing will happen. Look, ride a storm, get over it, and that is it. And let me tell you, there's something called plausible deniability.
Right.
Where you decide that go and do it, but won't hold you to it. So, look, go and teach them a lesson. Let them show that we're doing this. But unofficially, we all pretend to be criticizing it. That is what, in my view, is happening.
Right.
And it's sad. Look, let us look at the basis, the arguments. They say they want representation on the program.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not an avid watcher of the program. I'm not an avid watcher of entertainment shows. But once in a while, it's a very hot show. So once on social media, you pick some things have developed and you are picking it. So we all watch it occasionally. Yeah. There's a guy called Socrates Safo. He's a well-known movie producer. He
identifies with the New Patriotic Party.
He's actually an appointee of the president.
Right.
I think he's at the tourism ministry or something. I'm not too sure. He's regular on that program. He's MPP. A+. He's MPP. It appears today is shifting. But who doesn't know that A+ is MPP? He campaigned for the president. In fact, at the time he was campaigning for the president, their deputy communications director was a member of the NDC and later joined the NDP. A+ has been a member of the opposition for long. He campaigned for them. Dana Samoa, the gospel artist, I don't know her songs, but I got to know her by virtue of some of the things she does for the NPP and some of the things she says. She goes on the program. I'm not sure of his political bias, but there's a guy called Mr. Logic.
Mr. Logic is a member of the NPP. He identifies himself as
I didn't know, but his argument often stands.
No, he said it publicly. He's NPP.
Okay, so he's a regular on the show.
Yes.
I can go. You realize that all they went, there was no basis whatsoever. Look, let's be realistic. And there's
a difference between NPP sympathizers and a government spokesperson. Not
the point I'm making
is promoting, like you said, advancing the interests of the party. What the MPP is saying is that we give us, look, for as long as the program has turned
The
political,
program is
give
not
us an
political.
opportunity for somebody to go there and explain the issues.
It is not a political program.
Okay.
It is an entertainment program. But as you know,
No, they say it's entertainment in name.
It's
But operationally,
it's entertainment indeed. But once it is an entertainment program in name and indeed. But being an entertainment program does not mean that
They can't say politics.
when political issues come up
They can't
relative to entertainment, you can discuss it. And let me tell you, let me end here.
Yes.
You see, he mentioned one particular program. I happen to be one of the earliest people who also, I'll say, began that program, even before Kwame came, because that Sefa came and took it to a higher level. That's a Kokroko. It started on a Sunday. Most people don't know. Myself and others were on it. And I've been on it for years. And one of the most brilliant programs around. The NDC had a problem with Kokroko. And you know what the problem was? It was with the continuous fielding of Alote Jacobs, a member of the NDC, on Kokroko.
Broken ranks with the NDC.
Who had broken ranks with the NDC and was speaking largely in favor of the MPP.
Right.
Today, everybody knows that Alote Jacobs is a foremost proponent of the Vice President, Baumia. Everybody knows because he's made it public.
Yes.
Every time Alote Jacobs went on the program, in the name of the NDC, he spoke in favor of the MPP.
True.
The MPP felt that was the NDC felt that was untoward. Once he's coming in our name, please don't pick him for us. Let us choose who to speak for us. The program said no. Nobody determines for us who we invite. We invite him because he has a certain expertise, and that is allowed. Then the NDC said, okay, in that sense, invite him there, but give us our slot. They gave the NDC a slot. It was still on the program. Most people were still, because of the long association and having been a senior officer of the party, were still associating him with the
NDC.
With the NDC. Eventually, something happened between the communications officer of the NDC and the host. The party decided that, look, it's not in our interest to go there.
Okay.
We can't force them to toe our line. What do we have to do? We boycott.
Okay.
That is how civil you must be.
We'll
You don't take talks.
Okay.
Into us. And you see, the danger is that if we don't condemn this act, no matter how ill-informed a program is, no matter how bad a program host is, the appropriate legal remedies. We have an alternative to go to the NMC. You can go and report. It can be dealt with. You can deal with the management of the station. Like I said, you could private engagement. You could do it formally.
Okay.
What you do not do
Yeah.
is to force trespass.
Okay.
Go into the studio in confidence, threaten
Okay.
host of the program,
Right, we've all condemned-
and walk off
Right.
freely. Nothing is being done, and nothing will be done if we do not take care. As for prosecution, take it from me, it won't happen.
Okay, we've all condemned it. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. This is Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. Inside Pages has been on since 8. We're looking at the UTV invasion and the matters arising. I have in the studio Kingsley Amwakwa Buedu, who is a private legal practitioner. He speaks for the MPP and the government. Also have Alfred Obami, who is a media practitioner, spanning over 30 years, is the managing editor of the defunct Giname Concord, so former editor. And also I have Nana Isiama Hansen, who is popularly known as Bulldog. He's also on Zoom. Dr. John Osai-Kwapo is a CDD Ghana fellow. He's also on Zoom. Now, let's quickly go to Kingsley. He has a quick reaction to make. We have just 15 minutes to manage, and so Kingsley will make a quick reaction to some of the things he said. Dr. John Osai-Kwapo will look at the bigger picture of party rivalry, and then Bulldog would have his take as well before we say bye-bye. Yeah, Mr. Kingsley.
Yes, thank you. You see,
Sure.
I have decided to tread cautiously because that's the appropriate thing to do. And I remember when you asked him a question, you said you should put this NDC thing on the side and let's deal with it. Unfortunately, the NDC thing came in, and it becomes unfortunate because I have a lot of instances to cite.
Right.
Then it becomes
equalization.
And I don't think the people of Ghana want to hear that.
Because we're not racing to the bottom.
I could cite Stan Dogbe. I could cite Fiapokua alias Vim Lady. I was on site. I was at the same site, UTV, on the 9th of December, 2020, when the results were coming in, and NDC rushed to the same media house that if Fiapokua mentioned the results is changing the results. If Fiapokua had to travel outside Ghana for a while. So let's not create the instance, the situation it hasn't.
Are you dealing with officers of the party?
It hasn't happened before and whatnot. What is
bad?
No.
You are a lawyer. I said officers of the party.
What is bad?
Not sympathizers of the party.
What is bad?
You know that.
What is bad is bad.
What you're saying,
the young
is concerned doesn't matter.
It matters because he knows the difference between an officer of the party.
In his opinion,
what is bad is bad. Okay, what is bad is bad. So what is bad is bad. Well, Stan Dogbe was not an officer of your party. He's a presidential staffer. He's a very powerful
was wrongly
person.
condemned.
And when? How did it happen? Was he sacked? Was he sacked?
You
are drawing.
Is there an advocacy for your party officers to be sacked?
We are drawing.
Is there an advocacy
we are drawing into the position
for the party officers to be sacked?
We'll be doing the equalization.
No,
this
we
has
are
been
drawing.
reported on.
We are drawing
on Ref World belonging to United Nations.
We are calling for proper precedents and examples to be set.
We are talking about things that happen. I'm saying I was there when NDC rushed. It didn't take the police. It took the military. Wrong. And what these young guys did, wrong. But you've skewed it as if MPP sent them. We are saying we did not send them.
Plausible deniability. These are officers of the party. Whoever they acted in the name of the party.
When you were talking, I was quiet.
Sorry, I'll defer to you.
We could do this, but it's not nice.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
We could do this. Please not nice.
Please go ahead.
Okay. You see, and what everyone does in the name of the party has a reflection on the party.
Right.
So we won't come and say just that we didn't send them and so no.
Okay.
We'll come and if your child goes and does something wrong and comes back, you deal with your child at home. But you have to apologize. We've done that. We've done it on 3 occasions. That very night, the communications director went there. The general secretary has gone there. The party chairman himself has gone there.
You showed utmost good faith. Yeah.
Precisely. So if you are still saying they've sent this, no. The best test of what NDC will do is before us. Last night, was it the night or yesterday? City FM, Akosio attacked by NDC tags. Yesterday. Let's see what NDC will do about this. She's also a journalist, isn't she? Is she not? Are you also prepared to condemn what happened at the Odudiodo vetting? Have you, as a party, condemned it? Have they brought those people out? Are we saying that the persons who did that were sent? Let's be careful. What is wrong is wrong. What the guy did is indefensible. You can't defend whether it's a party, constituency, whatever. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. The party did not sanction that. The party did not send them. Let's move on. What is supposed to happen afterwards? Right. Otherwise, there are too many instances. The GBC person's camera smashed by the same person whose name I mentioned. I don't want to mention because probably that was then. Now it's not even like that. Because when you are, when you have this political euphoria, you do certain things. One person came to court and said, "Blee, wasn't it?" Yes. So let's not do the equalization thing. What is wrong is wrong.
Okay, wait for it.
What is wrong is wrong. When the NDC tax invaded UTV when I was there, I didn't flinch one bit. I was there to do my work. I wasn't even then there as an NPP spokesperson. I was there as a legal person, as a lawyer, to discuss the elections coming in and whatnot. The military were there to handle the situation. Okay. I am very sure the police will handle the situation. All right. But let's not, go there. Let's move on. What's supposed to happen? Okay. What's supposed to happen is that, you see, just like Bulldog was saying, it's a shame I didn't get to meet him personally. Just like Bulldog is saying, you cannot impose your will on someone's show. In fact, when you look at Article 1624, no censorship, know, determining what they should do.
Content,
so if
editorial content.
and all that. So if the program, and you see, even this letter, let's address the letter. You see, we have a communications director. If there's anything, he should be signing that
Exactly.
letter.
That's why
Someone else has signed.
This is possible
All right.
deniability.
Let
someone else do it and deny it.
you're doing it again, please. You see,
No,
I
this is-
intentionally allow you to flow. Do same with me.
Because
Okay?
we have time, yeah.
Okay.
We're running out of
So
time.
that it in itself was not proper. Okay. So we're saying, okay, ignore that letter. But these things, just like when I was entering, that's what you said. These things are handled with informal discussions, talking about, because just like I didn't even know
Bulldog.
he said his name is not Bulldog now, so now
It's Bulldog.
of course,
It's
and I
Bulldog.
can't say
Actually
God.
call
I
him
can't say God. So, so
Bulldog.
So,
I actually call him Budi.
so Boogie, okay. So he said, I didn't even know that they started it. I know Kwame Plus. I've been in informal settings, we're eating together and whatnot.
Okay.
And we cannot even determine their program. So if it's shifted, what the best we can do is, Charlie, let us also have a say.
Well, the saying hasn't shifted, but the politics.
Yeah, but then,
politics
as he
affects
said,
everything.
again, politics is politics.
Okay.
Everything is there's political economy of everything.
I get it.
And then, so if it's becoming partisan politics, then probably we want a say. As I said, whatever platform, we want to have a say.
Okay.
But we don't do so forcefully.
Right.
We do not come and say, by all means, we
You've
must
condemned
have.
it. So I think
Exactly,
point well
exactly.
made. Now, Star Assurance has launched another innovative product, which is Star Motor Third Party Extra, which aims to transform third-party motor insurance in Ghana. Now, this policy is a notable departure from the traditional restrictions of third-party policies, which typically cover liability for damage and injuries caused by the policyholder to third parties. Now, the new Star Motor Third Party Extra policy provides coverage for glass damage encompassing windscreen, side mirrors, window glasses, vent glasses, sunroofs, and inside rear view mirrors of the vehicle of the policyholder. Now, pay as little as 100 Ghana cedis in addition to your standard motor third-party premium to enjoy this extra cover. Terms and conditions apply. Star Assurance, your solid partner. Let me come to Dr. Osei Kwapa for his quick thoughts, and then I'll end with Mr. Enana Esiama Hansen because we're really running out of time. So, Dr. Kwapa, you say that we've got to look at this within the context of our what you term as democratic temperament. Explain to us briefly what you say. Why do you think we need to look at it from that perspective?
So you see, at the end of the day, I always say that because democracy guarantees us certain basic rights, but also because that in democratic spaces, we would all have serious disagreements over the direction of the country on matters of policy, on matters of what a government should do or not do. How we feel about a particular government will be very different from one person to another. That we need what I call democratic temperament, right? How do we react to the things that, quote unquote, irritates us, right? And I use irritation in quotes because you would never 100% agree with everybody and all the time, right? People feel differently about this government. People have felt differently about previous governments. People feel differently about particular individuals. People may disagree. I mean, think about all of the policies that have come up: free SHS, e-levy, EJAPA, you name it all. People have disagreements, and until such time that we as we as citizens figure out how to treat each other in these spaces in moments of disagreement. We need that level of maturity to be able to do that, to be able to say, look, I seriously disagree with you, but I draw the line between trying to use force, to force you to retract your disagreement. Then what's the point, of democracy? In that article, I quote from a movie where, the individual who plays president in that movie says, the nature of free speech is such that it's going to put up, quote unquote, a fight. It's going to say to you, if you believe in free speech, and acknowledge a person who is yelling at the top of his voice something that you would spend a lifetime disagreeing with. That is where we need to get to Now, I don't know how we cultivate that democratic temperament, but I think that our political parties, the National Commission for Civic Education, are some of the ways in which you may not necessarily be able to teach it, but you can encourage, you can advise, you can demonstrate, you can illustrate that, look, no matter what, exercise that forbearance towards each other. Because I am not stopping you from saying what you're saying. Therefore, why must you? And I just don't like an adversarial approach to politics. Everybody is different, but it's a fight, but it's a fight over the soul of the country, the direction of the country, over matters of policy, how we address the basic issues of development that faces us. And we need to get there someday.
Great. Doc, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure.
Now, Nana, let me end with you. If you can give us another 2 minutes of has this incident affected you in any way, or you can't be bothered? Hello, Bulldog, are you still there?
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sure. I can hear you now.
I mean, personally, as a person, I'm not bothered. I've traveled very far in this political landscape, and again, Alfred Obama is my senior. That will tell you now. But you get to a point or a place in life that you have people depending on you. I have a family, I have kids, I have dependents. I have a business, all that stuff. So we should be civil about some of these things. And when the government spokesperson was speaking and Alfred was speaking, you can see where they're coming from. Their concern is who's in the party, who's going to, is somebody going to get expelled or punished? I'm not worried about that. What is the police doing? We're human beings first before party colors. I'm saying that I spoke on that same show. It did not take them 24 hours to pick me up and put me in a can for another 5 days. And after the 5 days, it wasn't like I was walking around free. I was now arraigned in front of a court, and for the next 2 years, that was my life. I think the police should take these things seriously, because if the police are going to allow people to take matters into their own hands, it won't be a pleasurable sight.
Okay.
All
right. Thank you so very much. Nana, it's always a pleasure having you on the show, and have a good day, boss.
Thank you.
All right. Sir. So we have about, so let me quickly do this. I've got some messages. I have tons of them, but I'm just going to read as many as I can, then I'll take a minute each, concluding remarks. So the invasion of UTV was well orchestrated by the MPP party to put fear into the panelists. All the apologies were planned as well. So they jumped in immediately. It was all a smoke screen. The invaders will be free forever. Robin Ash from Takwa. Lawyer Trobu from Ashoman Estate says, good morning. I am with the greatest view that it's about time we start condemning media bias in our body politics. In as much as we are against the invasion, we should also deal with some biased presenters and journalists who allow panelists to use their platform to provoke the price of the country. Lawyer Trouble from Ashoma Estate. Alhaji Kamal Amasama Bruni says that from the Amasama electoral area, he says, Moro, the national chairman of the MPP, Stephen Team, has rendered an apology to Despite Media on Peace FM. The General Secretary, Justin Kudi, has done same on several media platforms. I think that brings the matter to rest, as the police CID is also investigating the matter. But I'm surprised that in all of these discussions, the media doesn't condemn the tearing of the official letter of the MPP on live show by A+. And then finally, a very good friend of mine, in fact, he works with us here, and he says, Moro, note, the Ododo incident was on City News last night. Regional chairman has issued a statement to condemn the incident, and has also issued separate statement on the City Reporter to apologize. So just to set the record straight. So we have just 2 minutes to wrap up. Alfred, a minute.
Moro, my main worry has to do with us developing a political culture where we normalize misbehavior instead of treating it as intolerable, outliers.
Okay.
And that is where I speak to what will happen to these guys. I mean, what happened, what happens in these people, it should be an intolerable outlier. Things like that should not be tolerated.
Right.
There should be more of extreme exceptions and not norms in our political evolution.
Okay.
We've come too far for people to use past events as a justification for present anomalies. That should not be. To be able to create a culture where we cut these things, sometimes we must speak frontally to the issues and say, no, this is wrong. And we must send that message right to those found wanting. That is where my worry with the talks in this incident is. And that is why when I say nothing will happen, I get more worried. Because you see, once they get away, look, power is transient. NDC will sooner rather than later be in government. There are hawks in the NDC and there are doves. There are people who are monitoring what is happening. You may justify it today. Tomorrow, out of power, you may be sitting here somewhere. And some of the hawks who learned from the bad examples today will visit it on others. And if you don't take care, the hawks then will use what is happening now as a defense to protect them. We ought to be able to properly condemn and at least take reasonable actions that will convince the public that no, things were really done against such conduct. That's what I would say.
Thank you. I think my last words on this matter is that let's all calm down on this matter. I've listened to the fact that Kwame Plus tore the letter. I think that is wrong because it's a letter from my political party. I have not come against him because then it will look as if I'm justifying their act. And then his response as well, when he came back, that in 2 minutes he called these people, and I think it's all wrong. And A plus, yeah, please don't get emotional. You're an LLB student. You are coming to join us. I pray you join us. These are not how we handle things. So relax.
All right, so
and let's all relax on this.
Great.
The police will do their job.
Now,
things will be done.
I've got some great news from Star Assurance. And Star Assurance and Total Energies Ghana are bringing you an unparalleled convenience. Now, at over 267, filling stations nationwide, you can renew or buy a Star Motor Third Party Extra or Star Motor Comprehensive Insurance Policy and get free fuel instantly. Unbelievable. But that's not all. You can also lodge your Star Assurance motor insurance claims at these stations, available 24/7, weekends and on holidays. For more information, call our toll-free number 0800-177-177. I'll take that, 0800-177-177 on all networks, or visit our website, Star Assurance, a solid partner. My name is Aldumor. Thanks for watching another edition of Inside Pages on Metro TV, and have a great weekend. Thanks to all my resource persons as well. Bye-bye.